Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. The big day has arrived as Canadians are heading to the polls. Candidates running for a Northern Ontario riding have been busy knocking on doors and making calls. Annette Francis has more on that story.
NDP candidate Nicole Fortier-Levesque has some big shoes to fill.
Hello, Mrs. Lallier. This is Nicole Fortier-Levesque calling. I am your candidate for NDP.
She hopes to replace former NDP MP Charlie Angus, who represented the area for over 20 years, but decided not to run again. So when ex-NDP MP Carol Hughes, who represented the Algoma, Manitoulin, Kapuskasing riding, asked her to run, she was ready.
I said, well, this time I will think about it seriously. And before that, it's because I was also the mayor of Moonbeam up until 2022. And I have established very good relationships with the people, politicians, either at the provincial or federal level. So I know exactly what our needs are in Northern Ontario, especially on the North Coast.
Levesque is running for the Northern Ontario riding of Kapuskasing, Timmins, Muskegowuk, which includes several First Nations. Since the last election, its boundaries have expanded by over 21,000 kilometers. Levesque says housing, roads, the cost of living, and healthcare are urgent issues for the Northern First Nations.
We need to build houses and fast. So, and it's not only housing, but this is one of the main issues. There is also the price of food. It's very expensive over there. It is expensive here, but for them, it's even more expensive.
Conservative candidate Guitain Millette has been preparing for this election for a year. He has over 40 years' experience in forestry and mining. Millette's been involved with many First Nations in the mining industry across the country. He says relationship building with First Nations is key when it comes to mining. But APTN News asked him how to deal with First Nations opposed to mining.
Well, that becomes a very difficult issue. But I guess in democracy, it's majority. We're going to find out on the 28th. What Canadians want. Not every Canadian will want the government that will be elected. Democracy is majority.
Steve Black is a Liberal candidate for the riding. He has experience in municipal politics and a career in mining. Black says that helped him build relationships with First Nations.
Every community is different, and every community has different wants or ways to go about forming those partnerships. And the importance is that we have a government and people that respect the rights of the Indigenous peoples and are committed to that consultation and hearing what the issues that need to be addressed.
With the election coming up quickly, all the candidates say they'll be busy all weekend until the polls close on Monday night. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Timmins, Ontario.
On Sunday, Liberal leader Mark Carney made a last-minute stop in Saskatoon. He urged the Conservative-leaning province to vote Liberal. This was Carney's second visit to Saskatoon in the last few weeks. He offered condolences to those affected by the deaths of 11 people at a Filipino festival in Vancouver on Saturday. He promised free trade across Canada by July 1st if elected. Carney stressed the importance of the election and said Liberals won't let America control Canada.
That's not going to happen. They're going to have to come through Saskatoon for that to happen. They're going to have to come through Saskatoon. Come through Saskatoon, come through Prince Albert, come through Lloyd, come through Regina, come through Wascana. There is no way. Come through Cold Lake, come through Estevan. Hell yeah, Estevan Bruins, they'll take care of President Trump, no problem.
According to the Assembly of First Nations, there are several federal electoral districts in Saskatchewan with enough First Nation voters in them to influence who takes the riding and possibly the election itself in a tight race. One of those ridings is Saskatoon West. Video journalist Rachel May has this profile.
Saskatoon West is one of 36 ridings identified by the Assembly of First Nations where First Nations voters could decide federal election results. NDP candidate Rachel Lowen-Walker says she feels fortunate to be in a riding with so many First Nations and Métis voters who help her understand Indigenous needs.
When the leader of the NDP, Jagmeet Singh, was here, we went to FSIN and we sat and had a round table with chiefs from across the province. And it was very powerful. I think it's a necessary thing that any party should be doing. And to be able to do that in a way that was nation to nation felt really important. And that is the kind of energy and relationships that I want to keep building and that really influence the campaign that we're running here in Saskatoon West.
Before running, Lowen-Walker was a professor for gender, sexuality, and social justice at the University of Saskatchewan. She says she stands by the motto, "Nothing about us without us."
I just deeply believe in the powerful work that can come from sitting around at a table, sitting around at a community space with representatives from all levels of government, community, nations, and finding solutions together that don't leave anyone behind.
Liberal candidate Chad Eggerman is a renewable energy lawyer who works with First Nations, tribal councils, and Métis communities. He also serves as the honorary consul for the Republic of Finland in Saskatchewan. Eggerman says the Liberals recognize housing insecurity as a top issue and want to get people into safe, stable homes.
Prime Minister Carney has said that CMHC will provide more low-interest competitive loans and mortgages specifically to non-profit Indigenous-led housing corporations.
He noted that he spoke with local groups that want to build tiny homes for the unhoused, and those type of projects need government support.
There's the willingness to do it. They know how to do it. They just need the money to do it. Again, Indigenous-led, Indigenous-owned. Why isn't that funded?
APTN requested an interview with Conservative candidate Brad Redekop, but he declined. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
A Métis man in British Columbia is hoping he can be re-elected while running as a candidate for the Conservative Party. APTN's Tina House has more.
It's a busy day here at the campaign office for Mark Dalton, as he is excited to once again run as an incumbent for the Pitt Meadows Maple Ridge riding. He believes the way forward is a Conservative Party.
Millions of people are really struggling. I ask people, look at the past 10 years, and evaluate that in the decision that you're going to make for the next choice that you make on voting day. And I can't say that I meet many people, if anybody, that are really very positive about the past 10 years. It's been very challenging. Costs, inflation, crime, drugs, the opportunities for younger people to get into the housing market, everything has been very challenging.
Mark Dalton says his priority is making strategic plans to help improve the lives of Indigenous people.
Many Indigenous people have struggled with the Conservative Party's views on Indigenous people in the past. There's been some comments from your leader nationally that have ruffled some feathers out there. What do you want to say to Indigenous voters about your party and your direction forward?
Well, I would say that, are they happy with how things have gone over the past number of years? I would say not at all. So a lot of our focus is economic, but at the same time, the previous Prime Minister, the Conservative Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, were the ones that brought in the, just the whole public apologies and the commission, the whole commission looking at ways to bring improvements. And so these are things from Conservatives. The first Conservative members of Parliament were actually Indigenous.
Dalton himself is Métis from Northern Alberta and says he is proud of his decision to once again run for the Conservative Party. APTN National News reached out to all the other candidates in the Pitt Meadows Maple Ridge riding. None of them got back to us. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Well, we want to hear your thoughts on this 36-day election campaign or anything else you'd like to reach out about. Here's how to continue the conversation. If you have a story you'd like to share, you can send us an email to news@aptn.ca. You can read and watch our stories over on our website, aptnnews.ca. You can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. You can follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. There is only one seat up for grabs in Nunavut. We'll bring you a preview of the riding after the break. Welcome back. We now move to Nunavut, where our Yellowknife reporter Bruce De La Cruz managed to pin down just one of the candidates.
The territory of Nunavut is a unique federal riding, as Indigenous people, mainly Inuit, make up over 85% of the total population. NDP incumbent Lori Idlut is running for re-election this year and told APTN News that the housing crisis was one of her main issues.
Too many people are still living in overcrowded housing conditions. Too many people are living in moldy houses that need to be renovated. And there aren't enough supports for current homeowners.
Idlut went on to share her solution with us.
And the best way, I think, to help address those kinds of things is for the federal government to reach its 2% GDP target with NATO in investing in the North. So allowing more of the defense spending to go to housing, so Nunavut don't have to worry about where they're going to sleep, so that they can be engaged in Arctic security.
Idlut would also want to spend more defense dollars on connecting the territory, achieving the overall goal of Arctic sovereignty.
Investing in airport and marine infrastructure will help make sure that we increase affordability and reliability, so that there are better infrastructure for Nunavut and Northerners to be able to travel between communities, travel in the North, and really help keep the Arctic secure and to help keep the Arctic sovereignty a major priority.
Excellent. We reached out to Conservative candidate James T. Ariak and Liberal candidate Kilikvak Kabluna for their input, but we never did get confirmation for an interview. Voters watching from Nunavut can go online to elections.ca, where they can find out which pieces of ID to bring with them and where they should be voting from this year. Bruce De La Cruz, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
Thanks, Bruce. To other news now. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says a Winnipeg forest will become a provincial park. Kinew says the wheels are in motion to expropriate the land. And recently, land defenders who had been maintaining a sacred fire at a spot near the forest held a celebratory feast. Our Christopher Reed was there.
After months of speaking up and standing her ground against a proposal to cut down the woods and develop the land for housing, Diane Bousquet is finally able to take a moment to feel what's happened.
It's weird because everything still feels kind of surreal. I'm still waiting for that gotcha moment, but I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm emotional, I'm sad. I'm seeing a real step towards reconciliation, but also a close of a chapter that was fairly significant in my life. So it's bittersweet, right?
Last week, Premier Wab Kinew announced the province would step in and expropriate the land located in the St. Norbert neighborhood on the southern edge of Winnipeg.
Welcome to LeMay Forest, and soon to be Manitoba's newest provincial park.
The land the forest is on includes a cemetery, which holds the remains of children, many of whom were Indigenous, from an adjacent orphanage.
When you walk into it, you know exactly where you are. There's no pretending. So it would be nice to see it honored and memorialized as much as the rest of the sites that may be out there.
The children buried here have a lot to do with why people came out to try to stop a proposed 5,000-bed, 2,500-unit assisted living facility.
So yeah, today we're gathering to honor and celebrate that the children of the forest will be provincially protected now.
Lindsay Brown is a Métis woman who lives nearby.
In December, when I heard that there was chainsaws desecrating the land, my entire body and spirit just felt called to be here, to grieve with the land, to grieve with the children and the unwed mothers that hadn't been acknowledged.
Another neighbor, Kat Gauthier, has been involved in the months-long protest too.
So yeah, a group of neighbors met on a front lawn when the first development proposal was sort of revealed, and we're beside ourselves because all of those trees, nature, everything, and we know the benefits of urban forests. And then again in December, and then on December 27th, a group of Indigenous people I'd never met before lit a sacred fire, and the community came together to support them, to sit by the fire, to learn, to grow with them, and it's been an amazing experience.
The Premier didn't make it out to the closing fire ceremony and feast, but he was a popular fellow at the feast nonetheless.
If the Premier was here, Wab Kinew, would you want to say anything to him?
I'd say, come on, have some food and let's party. Let's have a feast, I'd say.
Christopher Reed, APTN National News.
Tony looks like a good guy to party with. It has not yet been announced what the province will pay Tokol Development Group, the current landowner, for the 18 acres of land. Time for one last break, and then we'll hear from voters on who they hope doesn't become Prime Minister. Stick around. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. For his first ever submission, Leon Matthews shared a close-up photo of a turkey vulture. Leon tells us this non-Thanksgiving bird dropped by their backyard. Not sure what it's eating, but hopefully not a friend of Leon's. Be sure to send your photos to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, sunny and 20 in Fredericton, sun's out and 16 in Halifax. -2 with snow in Kuujjuaq, rain in Nain and a high of 5. 24 in Montreal, 17 with showers in Val-d'Or. 14 with rain in Sault Ste. Marie, 18 and showers in North Bay. Sun's out and 7 in Thunder Bay, rain and 5 in Sioux Lookout. Sunny and 7 in God's Lake, 0 in Churchill. 12 under sunny skies in Winnipeg, 13 in Dauphin. 16 with rain in Regina, cloudy and 19 for Saskatoon. 19 in Meadow Lake, 16 with rain in La Ronge. In northern Alberta, showers and 13 for Fort Chipewyan and Peace River. 16 in Edmonton, rain and 19 in Medicine Hat. 16 with showers in Vancouver, 20 in Kamloops. 12 in Prince George, 13 in Smithers. -5 in Old Crow, 11 above in Whitehorse. +3 in Yellowknife, 0 with snow in Norman Wells. -17 in Sax Harbor, 14 below in Pawlatuck. -9 with snow in Chesterfield and Whale Cove. -12 with snow in Resolute, 14 below in Igloolik. We're getting down to the final few hours left to vote in today's election. According to the major polls, Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre are in a tight race, with Jagmeet Singh trailing far behind in third. While Canadians mark their ballots for who they want to win, there may be a few who wish they could vote for who should not be Prime Minister. APTN Sav Jones ventured out onto the streets of Winnipeg to see which leader is most disliked.
These are the top 3 party leaders leading in the polls for tonight's federal election, but who would you not like to see become Prime Minister?
Probably Mark Carney. I just feel like we need a break from Liberals right now. I'm trying to buy a home one day, and just honestly, I think the Conservatives is the way to go.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
I just didn't see a lot of his views on things that he'd actually follow through on them. I think Jamit Singh, he should be someone that's voted in.
Pierre, I think. Yeah.
How come?
Well, I checked his website and there was nothing early on there seeing what he's doing, so.
Who do you not want to see become Prime Minister?
Mark Carney.
And why is that?
It's just the same thing with all the views that has been going on there. I don't follow up with it.
Polyev. I think he's very equal to what Trump's standards are, and I'm not very happy about that. I don't think he's necessarily for First Nations either. To me, that's very, very important.
Do you think any of the party leaders actually care about Indigenous people and Indigenous issues?
It's starting to become a bigger thing, thankfully, because they've definitely been left out in a lot of the past years.
This guy, I think, probably.
Again, I think Mark Carney.
You know, they all kind of have their own narrative. I think Singh, personally, seems to care the most. Pierre, not too sure, to be honest, but again, I think I'd benefit a lot from lower taxes. So,
how do you think the outcome of this federal election is going to affect Canada's relationship with U.S. President Donald Trump?
Oh, that's a really good question. I hope whoever gets elected, we can kind of bring the peace back, because right now it's pretty rocky, and I think we need to work on having a strong relationship with the United States to actually thrive as a country. So I'm hoping they all do their best to make peace with Trump.
Well, I think Mark Carney's going to give him a run for his money. We're definitely not the 51st state. If anybody wants to be the 51st state, I think it should be Quebec.
He's a you-know-what. I don't even want to say anything about Donald Trump. I think he is a rude man, and I hope that they don't connect with him at all. I think that Canada should stay on their side and U.S. stay on theirs.
Thanks for that, Sav. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News on this election day, but we will be back here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for our Decision 2025 coverage. Myself, Creason, and Kim Sullivan will be joined by Cassidy Karen, Jennifer Lewitz, Nigon Sinclair, Veldon Coburn, and Peter Itinawar. Our reporters will also be fanned out across the country, including at the party headquarters of the Liberals, Conservatives, and the NDP. It's going to be a historic night, and it starts right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy Miigwech, thanks for being with us. We'll see you back here in a couple hours.